Okay, today I'm going to show you how to harness a horse. So as we go along, I'm going to explain some of the parts and pieces that I'm using, but this is kind of my methodology. We'll start with the collar. The collar goes on and over and clasps on top. Okay, that's the collar. Then I'm going to grab the harness. So the trick here is to keep as much as you can in your right arm so that when I swing this over, it all stays where it's supposed to. So I'm going to grab each aim in each hand. I'm going to swing this over. Okay, once I get to this spot, I'm going to flip half of this over. So now half of the harness is on that side and half of the harness is on this side. As you are harnessing, it's a good idea to try to make sure things are not tangled or stuck underneath. Once you start to bring some of these straps together, it's going to be hard to fish some of that out. So as you're going, just try to organize. So I'm going to reach across the opposite side and grab my hame, which coincidentally it's kind of hidden. So I'm going to come over here and we'll show this side here in a minute of what it looks like. So I'm going to take each side of the hame and I'm going to make sure it's seated well inside the collar and buckle it. Now, if this is the first time you're putting a harness on the particular horse that you're harnessing, you'll definitely want to be pretty cognizant of fit. So definitely keep an eye on that. So we'll come back to this and make sure that's plenty tight. So the way that I harness is I go from front to back, top to bottom. And the thought behind that is making sure that the first things that I put on my horse are the pieces that will keep the harness there in case they were to get loose or get bothered and get worried. So I think of the front hames and the back crupper as the two critical spots on a harness as far as keeping it on the horse. So as I go back, I'm going to take the breeching and pull it back behind the tail. And then this is the spider, which from up top you can really see that that's looks like a spider. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that pretty tight, just like that. And you don't necessarily need to yank it, but I'm going to pull it decently tight and go ahead and hook it. Which I'm going to hook it on this hole. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the front and make sure that everything is still where I think it is. To me, this needs to be a little bit tighter, so I'll do it one more hole. Okay, so at this point, this harness is going to stay hopefully hanging on this horse. Now, some of this stuff might fall down, but it's definitely not going to ruin it if they step on it. This, in my opinion, is a safe space to be. So then I'm going to work top to bottom. So my entire top line is done. Now I'm going to do the bottom. So I'm going to work front to back. So on the front part, there is this strap, and this helps keep the top of the tongue of the wagon up and in the right position. So I'm going to go ahead and hook that just like that and make sure it's hanging right in the middle. You might have to slide it left and right. Okay, now I'm going to start working back just like I said. I'm going to grab the belly strap and hook it just like so. I'm going to pull this front tongue piece through. Okay, so I'm working front to back, top to bottom. I'm going to go ahead and hook this on this side. Now you see that I'm kneeling down. I do not recommend doing that when you're harnessing a horse, but just for visual sake, I'm letting you see that. And I'm going to go ahead and sneak on the other side and make sure that this guy is free and clear over there and it's not twisted around the tongue of something of that sort. So I'm going to go over there and check that, which it actually was. When you hang these up, even when you're being careful, that's going to happen. Okay, so at this moment in time, as far as the harness is considered, this horse is completely done. Okay, now I will go through and look for twists or kinks or things that might be wrong in my harness, especially when you're driving teams, because there's two of them. It's a good idea to double check your work. So check everywhere on your harness, make sure things are setting properly, just the way that you intended them to do. So as far as the harness goes, this is how I would harness a team. Now to take it off, I would just do everything in reverse order. So I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time, but I would take from the back to the front off. So I'd take these two off, and then I would take this off, and then my whole bottom line is done. Then I will come up here and take the crupper off. And as I take the crupper off, I will stack the breeching on top of the spider, take the spider, stack it on top of the saddle, and then grab the saddle, stick my arm underneath, and I'm back to the beginning. So it's all definitely off of efficiency. If you were to harness a bunch together, this certainly would make the most sense, but I think this is a safe way to go ahead and harness a horse, keeping everything in mind as far as making sure your harness doesn't get wrecked if they were to get bothered. So if you like this video and want to see more videos just like this, please like and subscribe to the Startup Cowboy channel.